All right.
Cool.
So let's go back up here to some of these comments we had about Reacher.
So you're looking at that. I'll kind of recap the episode for everybody. We left off last week. The guys were going into the warehouse to kill Duffy and Villanueva because they had been tracking Angel Dog's laptop. Actually, Reacher is able to call and get a hold of Elliot. Elliot is able to call the warehouse and let them know that the men are on their way. So they're able to get their guns out and everything before the guys get there. With the help of Reacher, they are able to kill most of the guys, and Reacher leaves one of the guys alive so that he can pretend like everything's fine when they go back to the guys. Still, they recover the laptop, and still they have to dump the bodies and all that kind of stuff. And then what else happens, Dan?
They do have to dump that, and we get a lot of exposition about dumping people in this area to carry them out. The bodyguard gets away. Reacher has to coordinate with her partner, the Indian guy.
He kills Elliot.
Car, block the road, and the bodyguard comes, and he has to stop for the car, and they kill him, and they get rid of him. The excuse for Reacher to stop the bodyguard is he has Duffy kill the power. That results in McCabe/Quinn making them toss the house, and Reacher has Duffy's badge, so we get that whole tense thing. Are they going to find the badge? He sends the bodyguard away. The power comes back on. They have found that there is a leak in the house. We found something, and Reacher, you get that whole tense moment where Reacher thinks maybe they found the badge, but it's not the badge. They found out that the maid was a spy, and Paulie has killed her because Paulie is an idiot, and they drag her out. And now we're going to end the episode with Reacher going to see Quinn/McCabe. He's walking into maybe a trap. We don't know what's happening. I think that we got it all right. That we didn't leave any.
That's pretty much it. Let's go back up to the comments here, see what we got. But
because Elliot's death was predictable.
Yeah.
I mean, they kept leaving him alone with the bodyguards. So
I mean, and he was the scrawny guy. There's no semblance of an agent in that young man. I don't care what Duffy says to his dad. He was an excellent agent. No, he was not. Okay. He was a terrible agent. He was a kid that was way in over his head in everything that he was doing. Yes, it was probably the most predictable death of the entire season so far.
Now, I will say the whole sequence with flipping the car and stopping the bodyguards, that's out of the book. That happens in the books. The bodyguards get loose. Elliot, and I don't know if his name is Elliot in the book, but there's 3 people on Duffy's team. An old guy, a young guy, and her. If the young guy is not named Elliot in the book, I'm sorry, readers with better retention skills than me that I don't remember. You can get in the comments and call me old and forgetful. That's fine. I don't think he gets killed in the book. I think that I sort of vaguely remember they had to let the bodyguards go because they had held them too long with no reason.
Gotcha.
Either that or they did escape, but nobody got killed. This is starting to strain the credulity for Duffy a little bit. I'm feeling like, because she's running an off-book investigation where she's got a captured CI.
Yeah, and I had a question about that. After Elliot gets killed, there are several units that respond, right? I mean,
right.
And she has to explain to somebody why this kid was killed in this safe house, right? I mean, she can't make up any implausible excuse. I mean, she has to give a reason, so she has to tell on herself, right? I mean, but she apparently has not. I'm curious. Right. She hasn't lost her job. She hasn't been arrested. She hasn't any of those things. So
what were you
what's
doing
going on here?
Safe house? Why is he here? What are you investigating?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a man is dead because of you. We've got to have a couple questions about that. I don't know what's going on. So what was the story that she told the dad? What was that? Some kind of a drug ring. He's got blah blah blah, something or other.
Maybe he passed that off, but I don't see that working. So Duffy's badge not being found when it was in the flipping pillowcase was super unrealistic. They were in his room and they cut 3 pillows all the way open.
Well, and not only that, but they showed it like dangling off the bed, like you could see it dangling out of the pillowcase. Did you see that? And I
No,
was
I
just
did.
like, and I was just like, if I was a guy that was looking for something and I saw the pillowcase dangling off the bed, I would say that's probably like something that we should look at. So that was kind of weird.
And
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
didn't he bring it with him to give?
I don't know.
To
I
the,
mean, I guess if you get searched, you'd rather not have it on you. You'd rather say, I didn't put that there. I mean, but the pillowcase is like the most ridiculous place that a guy like Reacher would have put something.
but
That's
he sets up this whole thing. Duffy, you knock out the power. I'm going to drive the car to the end of the road. I'm going to meet the other agent. And it's like,
I mean,
you know what? I should bring the badge with me and give it to him. You know,
I absolutely. Let's just talk about Reacher's room for a second. When he goes into his room to hide it, there were 1,000 places he could hide it that they would never find it, and that's why I just open an AC vent and stuff it up there, and maybe shove it in between the drywall, whatever, something.
yeah.
But there, you don't just put it in a pillowcase, for crying out loud. I mean,
put it in the toilet tank.
put it somewhere, but not there.
You know,
I mean, anyway.
Jason, R.I.P. Elliot. Yes,
Absolutely.
we hardly
Absolutely.
knew you.
Yeah. Doogie agent. Yeah.
Let's see. Mentions flipping pillow. Okay, were we right here? Another episode that seemed really tense on a page. It seemed super slow on screen.
I thought there were tense moments. I thought there were pretty tense moments.
The whole car flipping thing played out really well in the book. But I think it was good.
The opening sequence in the warehouse was really good. And there were a few tense moments, I thought, for the most part. It wasn't necessarily action nonstop blowing stuff up and all that, but it was still very good, I thought. Yeah.
I feel like this was a faster paced episode with the action at the top, getting out of the warehouse. We had the we got Reacher getting knocked down by Paulie. We got the whole car flipping and shooting the bodyguard. We got the bodyguard killing Elliot. So we had a lot going on this episode. Let's see. Paulie 1, Reacher 0. Actually that did happen.
Well, no, and I had a question about that too. I mean, and I'm not a guy that has read the books, but I have read similar books before, right? I mean, I read James Bond and I've read Sherlock Holmes before. When they let somebody hit them like that, sometimes they're like testing to find out how hard does this guy hit, or when he hits him and it doesn't seem to do much, he's actually prodding for a weakness. Is that something that is typical of Reacher, like in the books that he does, or not? Or is this just he honestly thought he could just punch this guy and he didn't? I don't know.
Well, no, Paulie is more of a situation where he knows, like Reacher knows that this is a tree to climb. You know, this is going to be, I got an axe here. I'm going to have to hack away. He knows that this isn't going to end in one thing. So I think it does surprise him how bad the punch hurt, because Reacher's a tough dude. He can take a punch.
Yeah.
And so how hard Paulie hits was kind of surprising, I believe, in the book too. Jason does have a good theory that they found the maid's phone before they found the badge.
Yeah.
So that is a good one. And I will say in the book, the maid, they do find her phone, and there is a tense moment where you believe, they call Reacher to the office. They're talking about how they found a spy, and Reacher thinks they're talking about him, and find out they're talking about the maid. In the book, Paulie doesn't kill the maid. The maid gets away. Like she leaves. Okay. Like she knows some shit's going down and she gets out of town, and then they find the phone shortly after she's gone. And I thought that Paulie let it out, and I made a note of it, but I wasn't gonna bring it up. When Paulie lets out that they're ATF, in the book, when Reacher finds out that the maid was a government agent of some kind, he gets mad at what's her name? The DEA.
Duffy, yeah.
Yeah, he gets mad at her because he thinks that she's there for her too. He's like, if you got other people here, I need to know how many assets are you running in here.
Mm-hmm.
Is what is the exchange he has with Duffy when he finds out about the maid in the book. And they don't figure out that she's ATF until almost the end of the book. It takes a long time before they realize that girl is ATF and that they're running guns, not drugs. Because they didn't make a big deal out of it in their show, but when Duffy finds out that they're running guns and they're running no drugs, not only is she running an off-book investigation, she's got no jurisdiction here.
She's got no jurisdiction at all. Yeah.
She's got no dog in the hunt.
Yeah.
He is in the Drug Enforcement Agency.
Yeah. The ATF is the the ATF is the agency
FBI,
that deals with firearms. So
FBI, local law enforcement, maybe even the CIA, because this stuff is coming from out overseas. But trust me, the DEA has no standing here. And like she takes it pretty hard in the book when she finds that out. In the show, it's just kind of like, oh, hey, alphabet soup. We're all looking for something. You just glossed over the fact that you like
have no jurisdiction at all.
Yeah.
In the investigation that just got your agent killed, you know.
And maybe your CI is maybe dead and your agent is absolutely
and that's the other thing. Reacher just tells her she's dead. Forget it. She's dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
I still don't get why you guys love this show. Reacher meets Quinn right away next episode. How can they drag this out for 3 more episodes? I'm again going to refer back to people with greater reader comprehension and memory than me.
Yeah.
I don't remember if this happens in the book or what happens when this happens in the book. I mean,
they've mentioned that there could be some like memory loss or I don't know. That would seem like a pretty convenient thing, but I don't know. We'll see. So
the amnesty has to be in full effect for him to get out of it. Because
absolutely.
I mean, Reacher is not a guy that you
forget. Nope.
Yeah. And even if he's the kind of dude you forget, you don't forget anybody that shot you in the head with a 22 and let you fall into a frozen river. Like, you know, you don't forget that unless you've forgotten everything. So RIP to the only hot character left. Our boob chance just decreased significantly.
Well, I mean, Duffy's not bad looking, but I think that short of some Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor stuff going on with her and Reacher, I just don't think the opportunity is going to be there. So yes, I believe that the maid was probably the only opportunity that we were going to get there. So we will just move past that.
Yeah, and I knew in the book he does not hook up with the maid. I will
so there you go.
I know there was speculation from I think Tim and others that the maid, or I don't remember who was speculating that, but the maid was not the love interest in the book, and she was an ATF agent in the book. So Villanova talking about retirement almost guarantees his death. Heck, he even said it.
So, he did. He even said it. Hey, I'm talking about retirement. It'll be
If you call out the trope, is that a reason not to do the trope though? You know,
that's true.
Jason just said, I think it's not really Quinn. Okay.
They could McCabe and Quinn might still be 2 different people. Reacher has made the assumption that they're not. So that is true. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then again, if McCabe is Quinn, like maybe they're supposed to meet him, but it's some other lieutenant. He's not really there. It's some other guy. Yeah. You know, there are ways to get in here and it's not the be all end all that you thought it was. So I don't know. All in all, I feel like this episode was more fast paced and action. I feel like they are finding ways to pack more conflicts and fights into this show than there were in that book. But in doing that, some of it's falling apart. Elliot dying and Duffy being able to continue this off-book investigation, especially when she finds out that she has there's no pot of gold at the end of this rainbow for Duffy.
Nope.
There's no big drug bust. None of that is going to happen. She got no jurisdiction over anything.
This is all about Teresa for her right now, and that's it. But the big thing is she really now has no reason to continue to go after Teresa with her job. Okay, she's going to have to do it off the books completely, and because she has no plausible deniability anymore. There's no more, oh, well, I was just doing my own investigation. No, you're doing this because of Teresa, and that's it. So anyway,
you figured out that they're running guns. You know that they're running guns, and
you know that an ATF agent just got killed.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, and if you don't tell the ATF, I mean, how bad is this going to be for you?
I feel like she has a legal obligation to contact the ATF and tell them what she knows.
I think so.
And so, she is in all kinds of just like deep.
Oh, she's going to jail. She won't care, but she's going to jail. There's just no doubt. I mean, people have died because of this, and so she's going to jail for it. But it's just a matter of whether or not she just wants to find Teresa safe, and she doesn't even care. And she said that. So
So in increasing the action, I feel like they've strained the book plot. Didn't strain quite this much because they didn't figure out it was guns till much later. Another thing that comes up is that stupid having the dog there. So they got to give you a line of dialogue about how the dog couldn't smell guns. And I think most police dogs can smell ammo. I mean, gunpowder is also something that, like, dogs at ports don't just smell drugs and cadavers. They are trained to smell all of the things. Dogs can smell cancer in your body and diagnose you. They can smell guns. They can smell gun oil. They can smell black powder. They can smell guns, guys. So the idea that this was the best police dog in all of police dog history and he didn't smell those guns, in the book, they unrolled every rug and put them back in the same order. And that's why it was tense getting back on the road, and there was nothing there. It really was a loyalty test. So we didn't need a line about how the dog can't smell guns, because I feel like that's another thing that strained the credulity a little bit. Like, no, police dogs can smell guns, especially drug guns in that quantity. So
something for Jason here. He says the guy who was dumping bodies starred in Goosebumps, and he thought that was cool. So
I didn't know that. I don't know. What was your overall feeling for the episode? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did it?
I still like this season. I would say of the 3 seasons, this one's probably my least favorite so far. And I think the reason for that is just because it is a little bit more slow paced, and it is a little bit more kind of setting stuff up instead of the action constantly. But I do like it. I don't think that it's I don't think it's a bad show by any stretch of the imagination. This is still far superior to a lot of the stuff that we've seen on Disney Plus. So I'm still enjoying it. I think it's very good.
Even though I'm enjoying Born Again so far, 2 episodes in, I feel like I'm enjoying Reacher more. Still, even, and I have less worries about Reacher going somewhere dumb and not Reacher. Reacher is going to do Reacher stuff. Like, there's going to be
for sure.
action. There's going to be fights. Reacher's going to be smart. It's not going to go, Reacher's not going to have an episode of Matlock. That's not going to happen, So
definitely.
I was thinking of books that I would like to see him cover. And even though I am wearing this in honor of our other Reacher, I've never watched either of those movies. And I did realize today in researching 2 of the books that I really like and think would make good episodes or good seasons were already adapted into those movies. So those are off the table. So I got to think of some other ones that are really cool. Yeah, there's one with like an abandoned military base and a big bomb. That's kind of cool. Can't remember what it's called.
At some point, I think this is going to get to the point where it's like James Bond, where they don't have to do it adapted. They can just do originals and people will run with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's something that they're going to feel like it's realistic for this guy to have done this many times. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where it kind of falls apart, I think, is in book it's different. You know what I mean? It's the same thing with Bond. It's different when it's in book, but when it's a season that you're watching and then you watch another season and another one and another one, and you're thinking to yourself like, how could this one guy have fallen into every single one of these situations? That's where it kind of falls apart a little bit. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think right now, I know that there's plenty of these books left. I don't think they have to adapt anymore. I think they could just do original and people would be okay with it. It's just whether or not the original material would be as captivating. So
now one good thing about this season tied into that is that he doesn't just fall into this adventure. This adventure is directly related to his history with the being an MP. This was a case he worked when he was still in the military, and this is an individual that he pursued, as opposed to when he just rolls into town and finds trouble. Jason said they are not good movies. They are good books. They pick some of the better books. I hate to hear that they messed up those plots by making bad movies. I can't remember. I think it was the second movie from what I read. The plot with the assassin, the sniper, that's a really good book. I think it's Nothing to Lose or something like that. They turned it into the movie, but it's very good. It opens with a sniper in a parking garage across from an office building at 5:00. He takes out 6 people as they're leaving work. And the guy who gets arrested for it is a former military sniper. And he's going into coma. But before he goes into coma, he says, I need Jack Reacher. And Jack Reacher comes in, and Reacher actually investigated this guy and was prosecuting him for crimes he committed while in Iraq. So even though he's in a coma, Reacher's like, why did this guy call for me? This guy is guilty. This guy's a bad guy. And you got to figure it out. And it really sets up a fun story. No spoilers for the movie, the book, or any future episodes. I'm not going any deeper, but it's a really good book.
He'll be too busy playing Batman. Yeah.
They're still writing Reacher books. Like Lee Child got tired and is having his brother write them now.
Yeah. And that's what happened with Bourne too. Like at some point, Bourne it started branching off into other authors and all that kind of stuff. And it's like you had a whole bunch of authors, a whole bunch of books that were already written on the Bourne series. And then they just kept going and going. And so it's kind of it's very interesting that, when these series get popular, that's just what they do. They just keep going.
And it's something like Lee Child. Let's see. How close does the show follow the books? This season is only got minor discrepancies from the book that it is based on. The book is
The Persuader. Yeah.
And so far, all of the discrepancies from the book are minor. So I would say it follows it pretty close this season. I watched the first season and then didn't read the book for over a year. So like by the time I started reading the books after I watched the first season, by the time I was reading the book, my memories of the show were fuzzy. So it seemed very similar to me. I do know that there are differences. The second season is very similar to the book. They changed the locations. I think it went from the West Coast to the East Coast, and some of the helicopters were different sizes and stuff like that. But all in all, they follow really closely to the books. And so far, they do change some things enough to that if you've read it, you can still have a few surprises baked in, which I feel is a good thing to do with most things. Now, if you're dealing with a literary thing that's beloved for years, like you're adapting Lord of the Rings, you have to have differences just to make it work. And you don't want to build in surprises for the sake of it. But if you're doing Reacher, which is a thriller, I feel like if you want to make the fans happy, you have to change a little bit so you can still have surprises. Otherwise,
yeah, and I feel like I feel like season 1 really dipped in with not just saying everything in the book, but showing everything as well. Season 2 and 3 have not been that way. So I think that's kind of maybe the main difference is they kind of pulled back, and Dan and I had talked about how maybe they pulled back a little bit in season 2 and 3, thinking that maybe this is something that would be like rerun on network TV eventually, or not network TV, but cable TV eventually, so there has been a little bit of a pulling back since season 1. Season 1 is nothing that you could air on TNT at 11 o'clock at night. Okay. But seasons 2 and 3, I think you could. So anyway,
the violence has been toned down in the second and third. And I think actually there was nudity in the first season, and
not in the second season.
Was not in the second, was there? There wasn't, right?
No, there was not in the second season.
So there probably won't be in this season. It doesn't look like. And again, the violence was a lot more over the top in the first season than the second two. So they're gradually toning things down. Again, it just makes it easier.
I mean, there was a naked dude nailed to the wall that had been murdered in season 1. I mean, that's something that is completely, it was the goriest thing that we've seen in the series, and we haven't seen anything like it since. But seasons 2 and 3, they didn't even come close to touching anything like that. You know what I mean? And that's completely different than anything that we've seen since. So I feel like the accuracy might not be as close, but it's almost, I think the reason they did it is like we were talking about before. So
yeah. So but I do think that it's going in a good direction. I am far enough away from reading the book that either they've changed it or I've forgotten it. So I'm getting some surprises along the way. I did look it up to be sure that the maid didn't get killed in the book, because I was fairly sure she hadn't been. And I still don't remember if the junior agent got killed in the book. So I don't know.
Yeah, and I think one of the weird things about this moving forward now is going to be kind of like what we were talking about before. This meeting, you said you don't really remember this meeting in the book either. This particular one, we're going to be there with McCabe/Quinn, and we don't know if it's him or if we're going to be meeting somebody else, or if they're actually two different people this whole time and Reacher was wrong. I don't know. So we're going to find out. So yeah.
But so far, it's a good season. It's a good show. It's solid. You can depend on it to give you some high action and thrills. I don't have worries that it's going to take some odd direction. It's not going to introduce some strange character. So we're on firmer footing than we are with a Disney Marvel project. But, that being said, me and Tim are both okay so far. We've both, I feel like you enjoyed the second episode of Born Again, right?
I mean, I enjoyed both episodes. I'm just being cautious because Disney Plus has looped me in before. So I'm being cautious, but we'll see. But Reacher, I've loved every season of Reacher beginning to end. So I'm not just cautious. It would take a lot to disappoint me right now. So yeah.
Oh, we got, let's see. I thought Elliot's death was a cool spot. Yeah. The breathing fire, I think they did that well. It looked real. It didn't look CG. I feel like they did a good job with that. I think we covered it. Did you have any other observations about the episodes or any of the other stuff that we?
I'm good, buddy. I think we pretty much have talked both of them to death.
We will see you on Tuesday on Bone Bridge.
Take care.
Take care.